Well, hello everybody. I'm glad to be joining today and getting to talk to everybody. I hope you've been having a great week and been spending a little time to be positive. There's so much positive news happening, and especially what's exciting is in the realm of the world of elephants. So today we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that and why it's important that we work together as a community to make change. People often have the wrong idea of documentary. Now, documentary is like, it's not just throwing a camera up, grabbing some interviews and putting some footage on top of it. People make those all the time. And they're documentaries, but they're not really something that's very compelling. Documentaries have the power of change. You look at a movie like Blackfish. You look at a movie like Oliver Stone's JFK. You look at a movie like Oliver Stone's Salvador. You look at a lot of movies that came out in the past that have a message that can make a change. Right now, though, they're not buying documentaries that are about the environment. Right now, the environment's a taboo subject. So those of us that were talking about the environment, nobody was listening, 5 years ago. Now we're talking about the environment and nobody's listening because we're busy with other things. But a lot of people care, and we have a lot of important important messages that we need out there because they all work in together. Biodiversity is what we're talking about. So we're looking at biodiversity. We're looking at the fact that every animal has a place within this complex circular chart of respective needs. Each thing needs each other. And that's sort of how the food chain works and sort of how a lot of other aspects works, but it's also a way that it works in healing the environment and making sure that the environment grows. Why do we have trees? If you ever wondered, gosh, it's 2025, how do we still have trees? That comes through allowing either, saving areas, or it comes from leaving animals like keystone species where they need to be. Why are elephants keystone species? Elephants are keystone species because they eat vegetation, and then they eat a bunch of fruits that have seeds, and then they spread the seeds and they spread it in manure, which is fertilizer, in the middle of everywhere, and they regenerate the forest. Super essential. Every elephant that is in a zoo is not doing the job of a keystone species. Therefore, the workforce that keeps our world going, the life support system of our world, is removed. Now, people don't want to make movies about that, obviously. Look, if you go to Netflix and you go in there, you'll see there's a show called Zoo Babies. Now, Zoo Babies is a huge problem because zoo babies are what zoos do every spring, generally, sometimes a little bit different, which means that they keep all of their animals on birth control and breed them when they need in order to have a zoo baby all the time. There's always a name the baby contest, the baby contest, this cute baby. Zoo babies are essential to the business of zoos, but the business of zoos is not essential to the propagation of the earth, but the freedom of a keystone species is. And that's why we're talking today, because documentary movies are not done. You can look at our fundraiser right now. There's only about $400 or $500 in there. We're talking about making entire movies, getting them edited, and getting them out. What value does it serve? Well, it serves to unify voices. This isn't about us making a movie. This is about the ability to get voices that know what's happening on camera and to talk to people. And that works as a worldwide education with a singular voice. And once we have that, we can really start to ask for things. What's next? We ask for all elephants to be removed from zoos. We want elephants freed. We want Lucy freed from the Edmonton Zoo. Billy and Tina, not all of their elephants, but 2 of them will be moved out, and they say that they're going to close their elephant enclosure indefinitely. Great move. Yay, LA Zoo. We don't need it. We don't need the zoo running. Great news. But they're sending them to the Tulsa Zoo. So we're still not there yet. As long as we are breeding animals to sell tickets, We're losing the battle to save the earth. That's why these movies matter. Nobody's funding us. Nobody pays for these. You're not paying for us to go, on vacation. I mean, we go out, usually on our own dime. We go out, we'll work a movie and we'll make a little bit of money and, like get to Thailand, for example, and go shoot this section of Thailand and say, okay, this is good. This is important. And now we have such a huge amount of the industry willing to come in and speak to us. We have Dr. Steve Best, animal rights legend. That would be incredible. We have Monica Miller of the Non-Human Rights Project willing to talk to us. Peter Milton of SPOTS, the anti-poaching team down in South Africa. There's so many people. Dr. Ian Redmond, a wildlife biologist. You may have remembered him from Harambe. So willing to do this. Peter Egan, and all these people are willing to give their time for free. Nobody gets paid to make a documentary. You don't pay people to speak. And we don't get paid to make them. If anything, we make the money at the back end and yet have yet to really receive any money from either documentary we've done. That's not why we make them. We make them to try to make a change. Education is important. And the only way we can do that is by unifying people that are fighting for the same cause. And if we can do that, we do have one voice. And that's why we need your help. We have had an amazing fundraising so far. It's going on until, I believe it's May 13th. So there's still lots of time. If you can help us, please add money. If you can't, please share it. We need people to be aware. Number one, these elephants are disappearing because their stories are staying invisible. We need to know what's happening. We need to understand the elephants worldwide. If you can help us and you're able to donate, this will be a section that will help us get down to show some incredibly crazy stories from India and what's happening down there. But there's also an amazing solution-based change in India that's occurring that can help save elephants. We have to remove elephants from people's needs. The world needs the elephants, the people don't. We are co-inhabitants of the earth with elephants. They are not ours. They are not our property. They're not there to serve us. We are there, if anything, to be stewards of the earth and to make sure that elephants have a place to roam. Because if they don't, we're going to lose more trees. And if we lose more trees, everyone knows we lose more carbon dioxide, carbon capture. And we have this natural solution. Keep the elephants free, keep them out there, stop breeding them, and let them do their job as keystone species. There's a reason they're considered a keystone species. Right now, there are more elephants than can be counted enslaved in zoos around the world. And land where elephants live are disappearing. And poaching is going crazy. What are the solutions? Who knows? Because people haven't thought of them yet. It's interesting. Sarah and I were talking earlier about the fact that, okay, what if you were able to fund programs where a lot of people that weren't working were able to go out and defend wild animals from poachers? Poachers would be outnumbered 10-1. Maybe that's the type of solution we need to see, and then poaching is not so appealing to people. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. It's one idea. But anyway, this is the thing. What we have right now just doesn't work. The captivity system doesn't work. It may have some pluses or minuses. People will talk about, we were talking yesterday in lunch, people always talk about, well, there was a lizard that they brought back from extinction with the endangered species in the SSP. This idea of captivity that we can own animals is outdated, and we can't do this anymore. So we need to understand these animals, and our job as documentarians is to go out and bring you the stories that you don't have access to. That's why we went to an illegal logging camp, because we wanted to show it to you. It was really tricky because you have to let people think that you're there and you're positive about what they're doing and you just want to look. Have a looky-loo. But in reality, you're there to capture the images of the truth. Because if we can bring you the truth with our cameras, you can make up your own mind if you're comfortable with that. Are you comfortable with going to a zoo in captivity? Are you comfortable with going and riding an elephant, say? Well, maybe after you watch the documentary, you will reassess that. We've had great, tremendous success with Harambe in making people reassess, do I want to take my kids to the zoo? Zoochosis happens to all animals that are trapped. Now imagine that they are born into captivity, that they're being treated cruelly, and people that say they aren't, look, they've been using bull hooks and things with elephants in zoos for a long time. The Cincinnati Zoo actually got in trouble because they were using bull hooks to control elephants to take photos of people sitting on top of the elephants. So they're not there for the animals. They're there to make money off of the animals. We are here for the animals. Our job with Keystone is to make a documentary with as many voices from the elephant world as possible, to represent as many of these elephants as possible. Lucy, Billy, Tina, there's so many that need our attention, and to also show solutions to the problem. We have solutions now, and we have long-term solutions. So that's what we need, and that's why we're asking for fundraising. We're asking for fundraising to help speak up on behalf of the elephants. Then what we will do is, instead of it being a big sales thing, what it is it goes out on Tubi, so you can watch it for free. You can watch all of our movies for free right now. You can buy them on Amazon, and we appreciate it because we do try to fund our next projects. We're not rich. We live like, dollar to dollar, like most people do. And we understand money's hard right now. And we understand this seems like an extra. I don't have money to throw into a movie, and we understand that. We don't either. We get it. It's a really tight time right now. Right now is very frightening for a lot of people, especially financially. So, it's a tough time, but we're still asking if everybody, please, around the world can help us make this. Let's get this funded right now, and let's get it out there for free. Like I said, you can watch our first movie, Phosphate, with an F-A-T-E, or you can watch Harambe for free. Why? Because education is the key. The reason we do this is to make change, not money. We're here to make change, not money. And it's true, And if you can help save an elephant, I think Ian said in the last movie, you can save an elephant or gorilla today, you are saving a tree of tomorrow. And how do we do that? This is the big thing. Look, we have Peter Singer actually willing to participate in our documentary also to talk about speciesism. So if you know about speciesism, the idea is that we need to see animals as equals within this realm of our own world. And what does equality mean? Equality doesn't mean that we want turkeys to have a vote. It means that we want turkeys to live a life that is full to their natural needs and their natural abilities and their natural wants. They're not there just to be killed by people to be in a sandwich. So, what does it mean? It means animal rights. It means speciesism is to be an anti-speciesism is to find a way to work with the animals without taking from them. And the only way we can do that is to rethink who we are to these animals. So what's the best way to understand elephants? You might be surprised to know that elephants are sentient, animal sentience. What is that? That means that they can think and process and have the exact same awareness of their surroundings. So fear, excitement, love, terror, all of it, they feel, they sense, they know the same way we would going through the same moment. You pull out a watermelon, we're all going to smile. You pull out a machete, we're all going to be scared. This is sentience. So we need to talk more about elephants. We need to talk more about what they do, how they think, who are they, where are they in the world. Like before I went to Thailand, I had never even thought about elephants. We thought a lot about gorillas with Harambe, and there's a few other animals. We just made a movie on manatees as well. We made a movie on bears, and we made a movie on dolphins. But, it hadn't hit us yet, the elephants. And I didn't know they were so close to us as well. And when we got to Thailand, David Castleman from EcoFlix connected us with Lek. And that began the elephant journey. And of course, our friend Vicky Kiley, she has always been an elephant, advocate. But I just never thought of it. And we shouldn't have a Serengeti in the middle of a city. Elephants don't belong in Los Angeles or Chicago, or any city. But cities make zoos one of their attractions. So we have a very big problem of changing this cultural acceptance of cruelty as cuteness. Cruelty is not, captivity is cruel. It's not cute. And we do see this. So, it's just another thing. And this is what our movie is out to advocate for. So, again, the movie is here to unite voices. We're very excited. Actually, today we're going to go and have an amazing interview with our friend Jeff Kremer, who you may remember from the Conservation Game. And he's going to talk about some of his experiences working at a zoo and what happens with elephants there. And that is for Keystone. So Keystone is focused on elephants. It's focused on Keystone species. And Humanimal Pictures, Sierra and I, our goal is to take you to the front line to investigate what's happening with Keystone species, to investigate their front line as they are slipping towards extinction. We need to call it out now. We can't wait like the vaquita until there's 6 of them left. Nobody comes back from that. That's ridiculous. Right now, there's like maybe 100,000 elephants or something in South Africa, I think, or Africa, around Africa. It doesn't matter. We can't just look at the number and make an impression of it. We have to know that these animals, if they go, we go. They keep our air and oxygen. They keep us alive. So it's really important that we make space for them. We need to treat them with as much importance as we do with people giving consideration to somebody like Elon Musk and his rocket program. If we gave that much consideration to elephants and their needs in the wild, as we gave to Elon Musk's needs to destroy our environment for his rocket ships, it would be really important. So elephants deserve a place at the table. They're very important. And even though they might not be in your day-to-day, if we don't protect them, you're going to feel the end result of it. We all are. So we really ask everybody, if it's possible, please give us a hand, chip in. You're going to be helping to save elephants because we're going to be creating awareness internationally about what we need to do to save more elephants. And we already have Thailand, and we need England, we need India, and we need Canada. We already have Los Angeles. So, we're halfway there. We're halfway through the movie. We really are. We're halfway through the movie. Please help us make this movie a success. This topic deserves to be spoken about. We must save the elephants. We've seen wild elephants in Africa. There really only are wild elephants, as far as I know, in Tanzania. That was incredible versus the poor sanctuary elephants that have been through so much. But luckily, you're in sanctuaries now, but still, they're bred to go through this torturous system, all to sell tickets. So we need to accept our place in this problem and know that we need to do better by the elephants. We need to stop buying tickets. We should never be going to any elephant shows. Go to sanctuaries. Go to Elephant Nature Park. Go to Following Giants. Go to Samboon Legacy. Go to Bless. Go to these amazing ethical sanctuaries. And you'll be supporting something very positive. But that at the moment is a Band-Aid on a broken bone, and the people that run the sanctuaries know. They're there to help along until we can stop this problem of humans thinking that they can control and own elephants or any keystone species, because our mismanagement of animals is our mismanagement of the world, and that's our mismanagement of our entire earth. And we all depend on it. We all share it. So it's very important. It's all connected. Every piece of the puzzle makes the puzzle. We all know that. Once you put all the pieces in, you see the picture. So thank you, everybody, for considering it. This is why it's important. And it's not even our documentary. There's a lot of other documentaries that need help our friend Wilson McCourtney, he just raised money for Fighting for Florida, a documentary he made about what's happening with Florida. So we need more environmentalists to speak up. And the only way that we can do that is to empower people, to make projects that can get out there. There's nobody going to give us money for any of these projects. Nobody buys these movies. HBO is not buying environmental documentaries. Neither is Netflix, neither is Hulu, neither is Amazon Studios. And if they are, they're coming in with a more genericized version that captivity is a norm. And we need a section to say it's not. We need to speak up for the animals. They're waiting for us. They are patiently waiting and paying the price every day we don't speak up for them. And I mean, we're not speaking up for them. We're not in the movie, but we want to bring you the top voices from the elephant world to contemplate what we can do, to show you some of the most amazing places. It's incredible. Elephants are amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to share this with everybody. So this is why, because nobody is helping us. It takes us years as independent filmmakers to make a movie. We don't really have anything, and everything we have goes into the movies. It's more pay to play than anything. So, we all do our thing, and everybody takes it, takes in to helping the way that they can. And we all have our own way that we participate. This is ours. So we really appreciate any help you can offer. If you don't have any money, no problem. We totally understand. Neither do we. Please share the project. Share the awareness. Talk to people about it. Ask people if they've been to the zoo. Ask them about elephants. Learn about elephants. And if you're not able to help, definitely watch the movie and help us stream. Go watch Harambe and help us stream. Help show the algorithms that animals matter. Our hearts know they do, but the algorithms don't. And they're going to dictate what people watch. So thanks again, everybody. We're actually on our way now to the University of Tampa. We're going to go do an interview, and we're going to do a quick little live before we start the documentary screening tonight. Very excited. If you're in Tampa and you can make it to the Gordon Theater, please come join us. We're doing an amazing Q&A afterwards with Jeff Kremer from Conservation Game as well. We'll be there, and it's a free screening, so come on out. Let's talk about animal rights, because it's our world. Let's talk about it. All right, everybody, thanks, and we'll see you again soon. Have a great day.